You guys are the most beautiful quarantine couple ever.
I definitely tried hard today.
It's the light. I think it's the lighting.
Yeah, we've got lighting, and I did makeup for the first time, so.
No kids, right?
No kids. 2 dogs, though.
Yeah. I don't want to start complaining because once I start, I tend to not stop. But
Max is like a walking birth control pill.
Wait, how many kids do you guys have?
we have 3, and they're under 4.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Well, the biggest thing is I laugh when we become couples. Oftentimes we say, like, who do you want your partner in your lifeboat to be? And then the friggin' lifeboat pulled up and said, get in, here we go.
I know.
well said.
Have you guys learned anything new about each other in quarantine?
I feel like you've probably learned that I like to sleep a lot more than you thought I did.
Yeah, I did. Having the ability to sleep in, Kaitlyn, is definitely for taking advantage of for the right reason, because you're usually always on the road. So
what have I learned about you? That there are no days off for Jason Tartick.
Quarantine was not built for me. My mom always says, she's like, when I talk to her, she's like, if this was you at 10 years old, I would have lost my mind. Because I'm just a go person.
Well, are you regimented? Do you guys have like a certain schedule you keep to in terms of when you hang out together, when you're doing your own thing?
And we're both self-employed and own businesses on our own, so that doesn't create, it doesn't create the 8 to 5. And there are times that we're busy earlier in the morning or late at night. So we're both kind of like self-starters and do what we got to do, and then find time to have fun. And we've certainly probably drank our fair share of wine over this quarantine.
That's true. Well, sure. I mean, I have a wine label, so it's like another excuse.
Exactly.
You're like supporting small businesses, aka my own business.
Yes, and doing research, just making sure that it still tastes good.
Quality control.
Quality control. Exactly.
I like that.
When you guys first started the quarantine, I know you had some scares of the virus.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I had actually come back from New York. It was right when all the cases started happening in New York. So I got back from New York and woke up so sick. I had a fever of 102, the cough, a sore throat, I short of breath, everything, like every symptom that it says. And I was freaking out about it, but not to the extent of I didn't have enough knowledge to know how scary it was at that time. So I was just like, okay, I could have it. This is scary, but I'll get through it. And Jason came home from New York, and we went in. One of the doctors here in town, they said, it's first come, first serve for the corona test, for the COVID-19 test. If you get here in the next 15 minutes, you could have a chance to take the test. So I rushed over there. They, did the whole get up of masks and everything, went in and did the swabs and everything. And I had to wait 4 days for the results to come back. And so that was a little bit of a terrifying process of just the waiting game. And then it came back as negative. I had positive for the flu, and then I also had bronchitis, which was causing me the shortness of breath. So that combination was scary in this time.
What are you missing the most right now?
I think family. I think it's like Jason's parents are 5.5 hours away in Charlotte, and it's like we would always just think about driving out there, going for dinners with them, having time with them. We'd be usually flying to Mexico, where my parents have a place, and it just feels like we don't know how far away that is. And I think that's, for me, what I'm missing the most right now. And hugging people.
Yeah, well, I think to piggyback off that, honestly, the energy of interacting with people, one-on-one or in groups, there is some type of intangible energy that provides some type of happiness for me. And I think one thing I've learned, and hopefully other people are learning, is if you don't have a balanced lifestyle, this is such a great reminder to put that in perspective, because it doesn't matter what you have, if it's fame, it's success, it's power. What is the value of inanimate objects or a nice home or a nice car when you really can't use it, right? And the one thing and one value to me that I'll constantly appreciate is just relationships with family, friends, colleagues. And I'm just missing that desperately.
Yeah, me too.
Well, if there ever was a time, you raise a good point, Jason, if there ever was a time to realize when people say what matters, it was funny because the other day I was going into my closet and I thought I had ordered this wallet right before all this happened, and I got it, I left it in the box, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, and normally that can be like a little retail therapy or you feel good. And I looked at it and it literally had lost all value because it was pretty, but you don't realize how much the process of that being beneficial is taking it out of your house and someone saying that's a cute wallet and you being, oh my gosh, I just got it here. And all of a sudden it lost all its power.
Sure.
And I was like, wow, this is mind blowing. The other thing you said about hugging, right before this all happened, we had been starting on our show we were told not to, to touch people. You have to, I think I have a bit of a social anxiety if I can't greet someone. So if you walk up to me and I have to verbally say, sorry, I can't touch you. And then we have nowhere to go. I realize like I get this feeling up in my chest of like, what do we do now? Like,
it's something you never think about. It's just such a natural way to see somebody else and start your conversation or start like even some sort of like bond between you two. Like you have a hug and then you start the conversation. Now you're like, same thing with ending a conversation now when you have nowhere to go. Like, I gotta go. I don't really have to go, but I'm gonna go. And then, like you don't know how to end it either. That is so true.
Okay, now we know that your relationship has played out a lot in the public, but we like to play this a bit of a quarantine quiz to kind of reintroduce you guys as a couple. So we have some questions. What was your first impression of each other?
Well, this one's always funny. This one's always a funny one for me because I was interviewing him for my podcast and I had rooted for him on The Bachelorette, and I really wanted him to be the Bachelor because I just thought he'd be like a refreshing, like well-spoken, all the good things. And so when I first met him, that was my impression. Like it just like reassured my feelings of that he should be the Bachelor. And I wasn't thinking of it romantically because I was coming out of a breakup and I was thinking of him as the Bachelor. So my impression was, man, whoever dates that guy is going to be really lucky. He's like a stand-up guy and he's just a gentleman and so well-spoken and charismatic and all these things that it's going to be great for The Bachelor.
That's awesome. And so we met on her podcast, and going into the podcast, I found Kaitlyn extremely like attractive, but I always found her just hilarious. Like her sense of humor and wit was so funny. So I was looking so forward to meeting her, but didn't really have expectations. But I do remember when I walked into that studio, the first time I met you, I had a bottle of wine in hand and I gave you a hug. And there was something about that hug that was like pretty intense. Like, when you can like feel like, I was like, there was something to that hug. And then the podcast, we were just bouncing things off each other left and right. And I walked out of that podcast and I called one of my buddies and I go, I think I might have just met my wife. And he just started laughing. And then we just kept walking. Yeah. It was funny.
He did say that.
I have to say that when a guy says that, it's different because I always say, you know how every girl tells a story and they're like, and then I told my mom that I was going to marry him. And I'm like, yeah, but I also told my mom that 8 other times and I didn't marry those people.
Yeah,
I think I called my friend and said, man, I hope that guy's the Bachelor.
But we were in the friend zone for a while, but it's funny how that happens.
Yeah.
Now, when did it change? Who asked who out first?
I think so. I'm going to give you the full scoop here. A little bit of game, little bit of game involved here. So I was pushing full court press. Like I was flirting a little bit, trying to break down the friend zone. Well, it was clear that I was in the friend zone. So I was like, all right, we're in the friend zone. She's a cool girl. I'm going to use her advice as insight. So I got asked out by this one individual and I sent her a couple pictures. I'm like, what do you think of this girl? Like, this is her job. This is what she's doing. And like, this is her location. Like, do you approve? If you approve, I'll go on a date. And what was your response to that?
I was like, no, you could do better than that.
Yeah, she's like, you could do better than that. I was like, well, can I? Like, help me out. And like,
I think that's when I realized, I'm like, wait, do I have feelings?
Yeah, we still like slowly started shattering that wall. And, a few weeks later, we went on a date.
And then I think I pushed him to ask me on a date. I put him on the spot on a call podcast over the phone.
Yeah.
I said, "Are you gonna ask me out or what?"
Oh yeah, you did. That's right. I remember that.
That's a baller move.
She's a bold woman.
Now, who initiated the first kiss?
I think I did. Yeah, I think I did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah,
I
you
did.
did.
Yeah, final answer, I did.
I love how you both, I could almost see it because you both relived it at the same time.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's
What am I wearing?
Yeah.
Now, who said I love you first?
I did.
Yeah.
So, like,
I think we were playing cards. And I remember having this conversation like about when the time would come that we would say that.
Mm-hmm.
And we were both like hyping it up so much that it was going to be like this magical moment. Like I thought he was going to take me to like the top of a mountain and scream it to everybody. And like I thought it was going to be this grand gesture. And then we're just sitting there playing cards after a couple glasses of wine. And he was like looking at me funny, and I was like, "What?" He's like, "Well, I just have to say it."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "What?" And then he said it, and it was really cute.
Who's the romantic one? I want to guess Jason with all these pointing
Yes,
fingers.
Jason.
I think so.
I think we're both romantic, but you're more like everyday romance, where I'm like, if it's your birthday or if it's a special occasion, like I'll pull out all the stops, and I love romance, but you're like constantly being romantic.
Yeah, I think so. Like if you talk about how we display it, like I'm much more of like a words of affirmation guy. Like I say it.
Love language.
Where you really demonstrated, I think, like a lot in action and thoughtfulness, things like that.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, Jason, can you tell us your favorite thing about Kaitlyn?
Favorite thing about Kaitlyn is definitely her sense of humor, and that almost to a point of stubbornness, Kaitlyn refuses to conform to like what society is like asking of her, and just is always true to herself. And as a result of it, I think she empowers others to be themselves. So I find that amazing about it.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, what can you tell us is your favorite thing about Jason?
There's a lot of things. I think he's just so like the way he makes me feel so empowered to be myself. Like you always make me, no matter if I'm being like emotional, or I can tell him like that time of the month what's going on with my feelings, I can be completely open and honest, and he will embrace every single part of who I am and just makes me feel extremely loved. And I think he does that with everybody that's important in his life. And like just seeing you with your family or your close friends, like he's not afraid to just show his love through words and do things for people. And you're just a really, like just down to his bones, a good human that I feel like they don't make them like him anymore.
That's so nice.
That was amazing, but that's apparent in his description of you, because what he loves about you is that you are all those things. So for him to be kind of the fuel in your tank is like a perfect cycle of support.
Yes.
Now, who's the better driver between the two of you?
I'm so glad you asked this. It's me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an aggressive driver.
It's am too.
I gotta, you own the road, or the road owns you.
I'm an aggressive driver as well, but you are more, like, he's a little bit clumsy in life. Like, you're always
fun.
Yes, you are. He like always trips on things or spills something. Like you're so coordinated in sports and like work and everything you do, but then you like go to get something from the fridge and trip every time. Like, and I find that you're like that when driving. Like you're always like you always make these weird mistakes or you get distracted.
We've never gotten like an accident.
Well, no, knock on wood.
You're the better driver.
Yes.
You're also the worst backseat driver.
Yes,
so.
I am. Yes,
I
am.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah.
Kaitlyn, I knew I liked you.
Oh my God.
Same. Yeah.
My feeling is when you have the right answer, why not share it with the person?
Oh no.
Yes. And especially if he's driving my car, I feel like I have even more right to judge his driving. So I'm like, wait, you're driving my car.
If you step into the zone, you will adhere to the zone's rules. What I also realize I do, which annoys me, is this. Like something will happen, I go, oh, did you see? Like, and as I do it, I'm like, oh my God, when did that happen to me? Like,
And you're actually gonna like cause an accident. You're gonna make me nervous, and I'm gonna like jerk the wheel.
Well, I'll yell, but I'm like, I think they're coming across the line. He's like, can you please stop doing that?
But That seems like pretty mellow. I'm more like, ah! You know, grabbing stuff. Like, I'm a little more dramatic.
Who's the bigger baby when sick?
Oh, actually, yes, that's true. I was in my head. I just had it that like men are always the bigger baby, but you actually aren't a baby.
Yeah,
when
that
you're
was
sick.
that was the most decisive answer I've had.
Yeah, I'm a baby when I'm sick because being sick sucks. But you actually just avoid everything. Like you just want to be by yourself and be quiet and like get through it. Yeah, that's me.
You walk away not to be a burden to those around you.
Yes.
Yeah. I think like just in general, not that it's a bad thing, but Kaitlyn's more dramatic and I'm not. Like if I stub my toe, I'm going to keep it to myself and be like, okay, if you stub your toe, the whole neighborhood's going to hear it.
Yeah.
Max stubs his toe, he limps for a week. He's
That's
You guys, what is the first thing you want to do when quarantine's over?
I want to fly to Mexico and see my family.
I just want to like go party or something. I want to like go to dinner with my friends and go to like a bar and just like go out. I just see family, friends, and just have a good time. I'm just missing people.
Yeah.
How about for you guys? I'm curious of that question for most people.
I liked your answer, Jason. I just wonder whether even once this whole quarantine is generally lifted, you know, whether that's going to be something we go back towards. I don't know. Like, I feel like it might be a while before we can go to a crowded bar and, you know, rip shots with your friends. You know, it's just
know.
It's true. Like live, we love going to concerts, live music.
And
like,
live sports. We love going to hockey games here.
Like, who knows, you know, when and if.
I think one of my things is kind of shallow, but I kind of want a creature comfort. Like I want to get my nails done or get a little massage.
Yeah.
I feel like, my roots, like, hello, I've turned into a brunette halfway down. And I just like, you take for granted that those are luxuries, but when they're completely gone, you know, you don't need them, but they add a little, there's something there.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before I go rip the shots with the boys in the bar, I'm getting my pedicure.
There you go.
Oh, it's amazing.
Well, thank you guys. Stay safe. I hope you're able to bust out soon and see family because it's definitely a reminder of what matters.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
This was
Great
fun.
hanging.
We even learned something about each other. So this was good.
Yeah.
That's the point. Fantastic.
Yeah. And you guys are adorable, not only in your relationship, which your answers were so beautiful, but you guys are definitely hottest couple in quarantine.
Yes.
You guys are pumping our tire. We feel good now. We're going to go start drinking.
Wait to hang out with you guys.
And she smiled. She liked the compliment.
See? You know.
Okay, well, to be continued when we're back in the land of normal, but thank you so much for taking the time.
Of course. Thank you guys.
Stay happy.
Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.